Hello and welcome. We are going to introduce you really quickly to an overview of the clock model. This is one of many models that we used in the brand strategy sessions for our clients, but I want to give you a brief introduction here. There's a possibility that in one of the days down the road, we are actually going to dive into the clock model a little bit more and actually look at a case study application because this is one of my favorite models. We pull it out early and we pull it out often in our strategy sessions because it's one of those models that overlaps with some of the work in multiple places. So, with no further ado, let me introduce you to the clock model. So, what we have with the clock models, we have a circle right here. And if you imagine your customer at the center of it, and if you'll notice here, I have employee also, because I've actually used this to model how to recruit and retain top talent in an organization too. So I think depending on which approach you're taking, if you're thinking more of your customer focus and your brand in that direction, versus recruitment and your brand on that internal recruitment and retention side, this model can apply. So when we look at this model, what we're looking at is the pre-purchase section of the model, the clock, and then we're looking at the purchase section and the post-purchase section. And like I said, you put that customer, that employee in the center of it, and it's all about the touch points and the experiences that they have with our brand along their journey with us. So let's look at some examples of what this clock model will look like in the traditional client-facing customer prospect side. So if we're looking at this pre-purchase side right here, the 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we are looking at social media, your website, your advertising, your networking. What are all those ways that they come into contact with you that they're maybe becoming curious, enlightened, deciding that they want to learn more? They're actually taking time to learn more about you, consume some content, do some research, ask other consumers that have used your product or service. That's what's happening right here. So, if we want to talk about examples, Nike is a company that is known incredibly well for being very pre purchase focused. It's hard to look at any ad and not know that it's Nike when Nike is the bearer of that. And they put a lot of money and investment into that. So, something that's worth noting is that when you apply strategy to the clock model, you don't decide to do 33.3 of each section. You actually decide where are we going to put emphasis for our brand based on our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities in our market, our competitors' strengths and weaknesses. And then you shift and you go heavy in one direction or the other. So Nike would be an example of a pre-purchase brand. Then down here on the purchase section of the clock, we have maybe a retail location or an online store or outbound sales or a membership. How is it that they actually get their hands on or experience that goods? If it's a service, it's the delivery and the experience that you create for them during that process. Some of the brands that actually focus here and really expand this and make this a bigger part of the pie for them are what we call, sometimes if it's a retail location, we would call it a temple to the brand. So for this, Gap is known for being a temple to the brand. When you look at Gap competitors, their stores are actually a level up. They decided that they were going to invest heavily on nicer flooring, better staff, and experience for those people that are coming into their stores at that price point and that demographic. Another example of this that's really easy for everybody to understand is Starbucks. They really invested heavy into their stores. We really said, hey, come on in, sit down. We're going to give you this incredibly customized drink, and we invite you to sit here, get on our Wi-Fi, and work all afternoon. So it's really a temple to the brand and that experience. Lastly, what we see here is post-purchase. And what we're seeing these days is people shifting more towards this direction. Back in the 50s during the Mad Men craze, right? We were heavy in that pre-purchase. Everything was about advertising. We're moving away from that because consumers are getting smarter and we're seeing less return on that in most markets and areas. So what we're seeing is a shift to that post-purchase or the purchase piece. But when you get to that post purchase, it could be success. What is the chance of success when you buy this product or service? How easy is the product or service to use or to apply to your life or your business? Are there really great warranties? Are there high touch points that make you feel great about the decision that you made, to make you feel maybe like you're part of an exclusive group? What is the customer service like? So those are all things that can be part of that post-purchase experience, especially when you're really creating a model where people are sticking with you and staying with you long term. So this is a quick introduction to this, and some of the stuff that we do when we're doing this is we actually fill out, we decide first off, what things are you going to put on each side of it? And then also how much, if we go back to this beginning, how much of each piece of the pie are you going to be? Are you going to be maybe 60% in the post purchase and divide the rest? Or are you going to go super heavy and be a temple to the brand and really focus on the purchase side? How are you going to set yourself apart? And we're going to talk about this a little bit further down the road. So make sure you stick and you keep coming to these advents every day, because we're actually going to talk about a really cool case study as it pertains to this model. And it's going to give you some really interesting ideas about how you might want to apply it to your business. So I hope you found this helpful. And of course, as always, if you have questions about this model or anything that we're dropping here in this Advent, first off, I hope you enjoy the experience and it's fun and something kind of exciting to get you excited about next year for your business. But reach out. Ask me questions, ask me to get on the phone and explain something, ask me questions about your business or about these models and how does it work here? How would it apply there? Always feel free to reach out to me. You can connect with me at Jeannie@storybuilt.marketing. That's JEANI@storybuilt.marketing, or give me a call. Call my cell phone at 720-441-7660. That's 720-441-7660. And stay tuned because we're going to have some really fun, cool, insightful stuff that we're sharing with you over the next few days.